It might feel as though the new year just started, but D.C. leaders are already taking action and setting goals for 2012. This morning, D.C. Delegate Eleanor Holmes Norton joins us to talk about the past year and optimistic predictions for the future. And I'll tell you what, I don't think that the thoughts of 2012 just happened on January 1st. You've been planning for this for a long time, haven't you?
That's the way you have to do it for D.C. And 2011 at first didn't give D.C. a lot to be hopeful about. Remember that the district began 2011 engaging in civil disobedience, unprecedented for city officials. But look how we ended the year. I was able to stop 2 attempts to reimpose the needle exchange rider. That, of course, is the rider that has been responsible for so many deaths and so much sickness from HIV/AIDS. We were able to keep a rider we were able to keep 2 more riders on a promise to eliminate our gun laws, and that was a bill that had 160 co-sponsors. And then there was a third promise, a promise to eliminate our marriage equality law. We were able to drive all of that back. And if you look at 2011, its signature issue was budget cutting, and yet D.C. got its 3 top priorities. The D.C. tag bill that's sending thousands of our children to colleges all over the United States. The Department of Homeland Security construction was funded, and we got the $5 million extra for HIV/AIDS in the district to help us bring down that terrible rate, which is certainly beginning to happen. We got the Southwest waterfront bill through. I expect that to get through the Senate. It's through the House now. And for the first time ever in its history, we now have bus service, inside bus service at Union Station. So it wasn't a bad year for D.C., even though it came out terribly. I predict next year we have the best chance ever to get budget autonomy, because Darrell Issa, the chairman of the Committee with Jurisdiction over the district, was very impressed with district officials in a hearing on their budget, where outside witnesses testified that the district's budget process inside the district looked better than most jurisdictions, as did our finances, and that its great handicap was that it had to come to the Congress with all of its uncertainty. And so, with a lot of back and forth, Darrell Issa has introduced a bill that would give the district something close to the very budget autonomy bill I had introduced. Of course, it's a little different, but it would get us a long way. So I am hopeful about 2012. That's the only way to be in the Congress.
Well, Delegate, let me ask you this, because you talked about some of the successes of 2011. How do you ride that wave of momentum into the new year? You mentioned the budget. What else do you prioritize now for 2012?
Well, for 2012, we find ourselves in the middle of an election year, and we recognize that presents both opportunities and it presents some problems. But I believe it presents opportunities. For example, I think that the House and the Senate will have to get a surface transportation bill through. That's great for D.C., terrific for the country, because we've had no bill now for a very long time to deal with your roads and your rapid transit. I do think, I should say in all candor, that I think this region and this city will begin to feel the pinch of budget cuts. We'll get program cuts that the whole nation will get, but there will also be cuts that affect this city and this region specifically and individually. And those are cuts or freezes for our federal workers who feed our economy, cuts for contractors who feed the regional economy. So I don't want to paint a rosy picture here, but I think the only way to begin 2012 is to build on, at least for the district, the successes of 2011, to see that, for example, I think that the fact that D.C. went into the streets and didn't simply take the possible close down of the D.C. government and riders helped me in the Congress to keep riders off that were promised.
Delegate Norton, final question for you, and this is more a procedural question, but There has always been the challenge with the D.C. government of working in unison with Congress. When you look at these problems that are existing right now in D.C. government when it comes to counsel, such as the resignation of Harry Thomas and the charges that are there, some ethics questions that are in D.C. government, does that hurt the efforts to try to translate this to Congress?
Well, that's the proverbial wisdom, but I have to say that of all of our disappointments in the 111th Congress, that was not one. The Congress did look like it separated out the bad acts of some members of the council from the people of the District of Columbia. I'm going to ask them to continue that because they've already failed us in a very important way. I had a bill that got through the last Congress that would have allowed the replacement of a member of the council who resigned in half the time it now takes. Got that bill through the House. There was anonymous hold put on it in the Senate. And that's the reason why the district will probably have to spend an additional $300,000 for a special election to fill the seat of Harry Thomas. Now, that was a non-controversial bill. The anonymous hold probably didn't have anything to do with us. That's part of the games that senators play with one another. But look how it has hurt the people of Ward 5. We've got a number of strategies to address that, but the fact is we probably won't be able to have the election, the election for the Harry Thomas seat on April 3rd when we have the primary, precisely because of an anonymous hold in the Senate. The Senate doesn't do anonymous holds beginning this Congress, but look what it did to the district last Congress, which is having an effect already this year. If that doesn't say to the Senate and the House, stay out of the district's business and we'll all get along fine.
Well, we're looking forward to a big 2012 here in the district. Delegate Norton, it's always a pleasure. I'm about a week late, but happy 2012.